Have you ever heard of Baba Yaga, the witch who haunts the dark forests of Slavic mythology? Who is this mysterious and at the same time terrifying figure? Is she just a legend told to scare children or a powerful entity with deep secrets about life and death? Among myths of power, fear, and magic, Baba Yaga stands out as one of the most enigmatic symbols of Slavic culture. A figure who is sometimes feared, sometimes revered. But what is the truth behind this witch who lives in a cabin on chicken feet and controls supernatural forces? Get ready to explore a journey through ancient myths, dark stories, and hidden secrets. After all, Baba Yaga's story may be much deeper than it seems. The origin of Baba Yaga is shrouded in mystery and fascinating accounts that span centuries. This figure, one of the most emblematic in Slavic mythology, appears in several narratives, both as a terrible antagonist and as a kind of spiritual guide. To understand who she really is, we need to explore the cultural roots from which her legend emerged. In the Slavic tradition, Baba Yaga represents much more than just a witch. Her name itself has deep meanings. Baba is a word that can be translated as old woman or grandma, while Yaga has associations with frightening things, such as horror, anger, or even suffering. This duality already gives us a clue about its complex nature, a combination of ancient wisdom and frightening power. Its origins may be linked to ancient pagan beliefs, which attributed supernatural powers to wise women or village healers. Before the advent of Christianity, these women were seen as protectors and spiritual guides. However, with the arrival of organized religion, many of these figures were demonized, transforming former protectors into frightening creatures, such as Baba Yaga. In addition, it embodies the natural cycles of life. In many stories, Baba Yaga is not only the villain, she is also deeply connected to nature and the rhythms of the land. There are those who see her as an embodiment of winter itself, a force that destroys to make room for renewal. This reinforces its ambiguous role in mythology. While it is feared, it is also essential for transformation and growth. Another intriguing aspect is Baba Yaga's possible connection to ancient cults related to death and rebirth. His house, a chicken hut, is often seen as a metaphor for the portal between the worlds of the living and the dead. Some legends suggest that Baba Yaga not only controlled this threshold, but also helped souls transition between these two realms. In short, Baba Yaga is much more than a simple horror myth. Its roots are deeply intertwined with the symbolism of life and death, wisdom and fear. She is a figure who defies definitions, offering both a window into the past and a mirror into human fears and aspirations. If there is one element that makes Baba Yaga immediately recognizable, it is its mysterious hut resting on chicken legs. This unusual construction is one of the most intriguing symbols in Slavic mythology, loaded with hidden meanings and varied interpretations. What could this peculiar house represent? First of all, Baba Yaga's hut is seen as a place of transition. Chicken feet, often associated with fragility and movement, suggest the idea of something that is not completely fixed in the physical world. She can move, rotate, and even disappear, symbolizing Baba Yaga's role as guardian of the threshold between worlds. The house is not just a dwelling, but a portal between the world of the living and the dead, a place where the laws of reality seem to bend. In addition, there is an important detail. Chicken feet are often described as being bones. This reinforces the hut's association with death in the underworld. In some interpretations, Baba Yaga's own house would be a representation of an ancient funerary temple, used in rituals to connect the living with the spirits of the dead. This connection suggests that Baba Yaga is not only a witch, but also a kind of priestess or spirit guide. The doors and windows of the cabin also carry symbolism. They often only open when magic words are spoken, indicating that only those who possess courage, wisdom, or true purpose can enter. This turns the cabin into a place of testing, where the heroes of the stories face challenges that will test not only their skills but also their values and intentions. Interestingly, in some stories, the hut is described as spinning incessantly, making it difficult to access. This circular movement can symbolize the cycles of life and death, or even time itself, which never stops moving forward. Entering Baba Yaga's hut, therefore, is more than a simple physical action. It is a metaphorical journey that represents facing the unknown and challenging one's fears. Finally, the chicken leg hut highlights Baba Yaga's connection to nature. Chickens are common symbols in rural Slavic communities, representing both sustenance and a link to the animal world. This connection reinforces Baba Yaga's role as a figure who, while frightening, is deeply rooted in the natural and spiritual elements that govern human life. The ambiguity surrounding Baba Yaga does not stop at his appearance or his actions. One of the biggest debates regarding this mythical figure is about her role. Is she a bringer of death, a cruel destroyer, or a spiritual guide who leads the heroes to profound and transformative discoveries? To answer, it is necessary to explore the nuances present in the stories in which she appears. In many tales, Baba Yaga is depicted as a frightening figure who lives on the margins of society. Their home in a dense, gloomy forest reflects the unknown and the dangerous, places that have always symbolized death or transition in Slavic mythology. But stories often reveal that behind this terrifying facade lies wisdom. It challenges those who seek it, subjecting them to tests that are not only physical, but also spiritual. The interesting thing is that the challenges imposed by Baba Yaga usually have a clear objective: transformation. Just as death in nature is necessary for rebirth, the trials given by it often prepare the hero for something greater. This is why many scholars see Baba Yaga not only as a death figure, but also as a kind of initiator. It forces the characters to confront their deepest fears, and in many cases, come out stronger. On the other hand, Baba Yaga is not benevolent in the traditional sense. It punishes ignorance, dishonesty, or cowardice in a ruthless manner, reinforcing its image as a ruthless force. This role, at once cruel and essential, reflects a duality present in many mythological figures. The fear she inspires is also an opportunity for growth and learning. Another fascinating point is Baba Yaga's connection with the underworld. In some stories, she is described as a keeper of hidden secrets, someone who holds the knowledge of the past and the future. This brings her closer to the figure of a spiritual guide, someone who helps to cross important thresholds in the journey of life. In this context, she is not simply an evil witch, but a force for transformation, a figure of hidden wisdom who only reveals her truths to the worthy. Thus, the answer to the question, death or spiritual guide, may be both. Baba Yaga embodies the complexity of the Slavic universe, where the line between life and death, fear and wisdom, is thin and full of possibilities. Baba Yaga appears in numerous Slavic tales, each offering a unique perspective on her personality and role. These stories, often passed down orally from generation to generation, are a reflection of the cultures and beliefs of the communities that created them. Despite the variations, some common elements help to form a consistent picture of this legendary figure. One of the most well-known stories is that of Vasilisa the Beautiful, where Baba Yaga plays a key role. In the narrative, Vasilisa, a young woman mistreated by her stepmother and evil sisters, is sent to the witch's hut to fetch fire. There, Baba Yaga imposes impossible tasks on the young woman, but thanks to the help of a magic doll left by her mother, Vasilisa overcomes the challenges. At the end, the witch delivers the fire in the form of a flaming skull, which Vasilisa uses to get rid of her oppressive family. This story reveals intriguing aspects of Baba Yaga. On the one hand, she is frightening and ruthless. On the other, his help is crucial to Vasilisa's triumph. There is no gratuitous goodness in their acts, but there is no pure evil either. It is both the obstacle and the key to victory. Another folktale is that of Ivan Tsarevich and the Firebird, where Baba Yaga acts as a secondary but equally significant element. In this case, she is a figure who provides crucial information or tools for the hero to continue his journey. This role as a reluctant helper reinforces her position as a keeper of secrets, someone who tests the hero's resolve before allowing him to advance. There are also stories in which Baba Yaga is portrayed as a pure threat, devouring children or unwary travelers. These narratives likely emerge as warnings to children, teaching them to respect the dangers of the forest and disobedience. Even in these tales, however, there is a certain respect for the figure of Baba Yaga, who does not act out of gratuitous malice, but within a set of mysterious rules that govern his behavior. These tales demonstrate the complexity of Baba Yaga as a character. She can be a destructive force, an ally, or a neutral figure who tests the limits of the protagonist. In each of these stories, she plays an essential role in the development of the characters, helping them grow and overcome challenges that would otherwise be insurmountable. Baba Yaga doesn't concede his secrets easily. For those who dare to seek it, tests of courage are inevitable. These tasks, present in many Slavic tales, go beyond physical challenges. They test the character, wisdom, and determination of heroes. After all, dealing with Baba Yaga means facing the unknown, and in many cases, one's own mortality. In short stories, the first test is usually to find your cabin. The path to his home is always described as fraught with hardship, symbolizing the hero's journey towards something greater. The dense, gloomy forest that surrounds it represents the inner fears, while the chicken leg hut, which can constantly rotate, suggests that fate is uncertain and challenging. When the characters finally arrive, Baba Yaga does not welcome them with hospitality. Instead, it imposes strict conditions to allow them to stay. Their demands often involve seemingly impossible tasks, such as separating grains of sand from seeds, clearing huge spaces in a short time, or carrying out orders that require superhuman skills. These tasks are not just obstacles, but lessons embedded in the symbolism. Separating grains or seeds, for example, can represent discernment, the ability to distinguish what is important from what is not. Clearing vast spaces can symbolize the need for mental and emotional organization. In each case, the challenges reflect the growth required for the hero to advance on his journey. Interestingly, Baba Yaga rarely offers help directly. When heroes receive assistance, it usually comes from magical objects or mysterious allies who have recognized the purity of their heart. This dynamic reinforces the witch's role as a tester, someone who doesn't care about the difficulties imposed, but who respects the strength of those who manage to overcome them. However, failing to fulfill one of these tasks can lead to dire consequences. Baba Yaga is known for her lack of mercy towards those who fail to show courage or cunning. This highlights his role as a figure of ruthless justice, someone who rewards virtue and punishes laziness or dishonesty. Thus, the tests of courage that Baba Yaga imposes are not just narrative challenges, but a symbolic representation of the human struggle against the adversities of life. Overcoming these obstacles is what allows heroes to grow and achieve their goals, coming out stronger on the other side. While often associated with terror and destruction, Baba Yaga also embodies aspects of the Wild Mother, an archetypal figure present in mythologies around the world. This version of Baba Yaga is less about threat and more about transformation, symbolizing the brute force of nature and the regenerative power that comes with it. The Wild Mother is a concept that refers to a female figure who guides, challenges, and in some cases protects. In the case of Baba Yaga, this archetype is visible in his interactions with young and inexperienced characters, such as Vasilisa. Instead of offering easy help, she forces the characters to find strength and resources within themselves. This type of harsh but effective guidance is a common characteristic of the Wild Mother. Another aspect that connects Baba Yaga to this archetype is his connection with nature. She lives in the heart of the forest, surrounded by wild animals and natural elements. Their home is a reflection of the chaotic and unpredictable force of wildlife, a place where human rules don't apply. This reinforces the idea that Baba Yaga is not only a scary witch, but also an embodiment of nature in its purest form. Beautiful, scary, and full of wisdom. This role as a wild mother is also reflected in her moral ambiguity. She can be cruel and ruthless, but never without reason. Your actions serve a greater purpose, which often involves teaching important lessons to the characters who cross your path. Because of this, Baba Yaga is often seen as a spiritual guide, a figure who helps balance the world by challenging those who need to grow and evolve. There is also a connection between Baba Yaga and the natural cycles of life. Like the Wild Mother, she represents the end and the new beginning. Its association with death is not only destructive, but also regenerative. It destroys to make room for the new, just as nature does with the seasons. This duality makes her a complex and fascinating figure, someone who embodies both the ferocity and the generosity of life. Therefore, seeing Baba Yaga as a wild mother helps us understand her duality and her essential role in Slavic mythology. She is not simply a villain or an ally, but an archetypal force that shapes the fate of those who encounter her, challenging them to grow and accept the truths of life. Baba Yaga is, first and foremost, a figure deeply connected to nature. Their abode in the heart of the forest is not only a place of isolation, but a symbolic representation of their role as guardian of natural mysteries. In many tales, she is described as living among ancient trees, surrounded by wild animals, and protected by forces that surpass human understanding. In Slavic mythology, forests were seen as places of power and danger, where human laws did not apply. By situating Baba Yaga in this environment, the tales highlight his association with the natural world in its crudest form. His hut, made of bones and supported by chicken legs, reflects this connection to the land and natural cycles. Bones, after all, are a reminder of mortality, but also of what remains even after life. Furthermore, Baba Yaga is not just a forest dweller. It also exerts control over it. Many tales describe how she can summon winds, animals, and even the forest itself to move at her command. This ability suggests that Baba Yaga is not only part of nature, but also an extension of its life force, representing both its destructive and regenerating aspects. The relationship between Baba Yaga and nature is also reflected in the magical objects she uses. In several stories, she is seen flying in a giant mortar, using the pestle as a rudder. These seemingly mundane objects come to life in the witch's hands, demonstrating her ability to transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. This transformation is a direct reflection of his ability to manipulate the natural forces around him. In addition to physical control, Baba Yaga also symbolizes the natural rhythms of life: birth, death, and rebirth. Just as the forest can be a place of shelter or mortal danger, Baba Yaga embodies both the generosity and cruelty of the natural world. This makes her a deeply ambiguous figure, but also essential, as her connection to nature reminds us of the larger forces that shape our lives. Finally, its connection with nature is a reflection of the pagan beliefs of the Slavic peoples, who viewed the natural world as sacred. Baba Yaga, at its core, is a figure who reconnects us with these ancestral ideas, challenging us to understand and respect the power that resides in our natural environment. Baba Yaga is a figure that evokes intense reactions: fear, admiration, and in some cases, even respect. This mixture of emotions is a direct result of your duality. On the one hand, she is a frightening figure, a witch who devours the unwary and imposes impossible challenges. On the other, she is a guardian of ancestral wisdom, someone who can teach valuable lessons to those who manage to overcome their trials. The fear associated with Baba Yaga is understandable. Her appearance is terrifying: a skinny old woman with sharp teeth and eyes that glow like coals on hot coals. In addition, her ruthless personality and the stories of her harsh punishments make her a feared figure. However, this fear is not arbitrary. It serves as a teaching mechanism, challenging the characters and, by extension, the listeners of these stories to face their own fears. On the other hand, Baba Yaga is also a source of wisdom. Many heroes of Slavic tales can only achieve their goals after interacting with her. Whether it's providing magical objects, crucial information, or even cryptic advice, Baba Yaga plays an essential role in the development of those who seek her. However, this wisdom does not come without effort. It must be conquered through courage and perseverance. This duality between fear and wisdom reflects an important aspect of the human condition. Often, the most valuable lessons come from experiences that initially frighten or challenge us. Baba Yaga, with his mix of danger and insight, is an embodiment of this idea. She reminds us that fear, when faced, can be a bridge to growth and understanding. Furthermore, Baba Yaga's very nature as a figure who tests and challenges suggests that she is not intrinsically evil. Their apparent cruelty often serves one purpose: to separate the worthy from the unworthy, rewarding those who demonstrate courage, cunning, and determination. In this sense, she is something of a stern mentor whose lessons, while difficult, are invaluable. Thus, Baba Yaga is not just a scary witch. It is a symbol of the complexities of life. The fear it inspires is real, but it is also a doorway to wisdom. And for those who are willing to face it, Baba Yaga offers something far more valuable than comfort: the opportunity to grow and to understand the world on a deeper level. Children play a central role in many of the tales involving Baba Yaga. Most of the time, they appear as vulnerable protagonists, forced to face the witch in situations of extreme difficulty. However, these encounters are not merely narrative. They reflect profound lessons and cultural values that permeate Slavic traditions. In stories, children often symbolize purity, ingenuity, and potential for growth. When they enter the forest and encounter Baba Yaga, this act can be seen as a metaphor for maturation. The forest, with its dangers and mysteries, represents the journey of life, while Baba Yaga embodies the challenges that inevitably arise. It is through these trials that children in the stories learn to overcome their fears and become stronger. One of the best-known examples of this role is the story of Vasisa the Beautiful, in which the young heroine is sent by her cruel stepmother to seek fire in Baba Yaga's hut. Although it initially seems like an act of pure evil, this task ends up becoming an opportunity for Vasilisa to show her courage and wisdom. Baba Yaga, instead of being a one-dimensional villain, acts as the catalyst for the young woman's growth. Also, the children in the stories of Baba Yaga rarely face their challenges alone. They often receive help from magical allies or enchanted objects, such as Vasilisa's magic doll. These elements highlight the importance of virtues such as gratitude, humility, and respect, as help often comes as a reward for good deeds or pure intentions. On the other hand, children who disobey or show arrogance rarely escape the punishment of Baba Yaga. In some tales, she is portrayed as a ruthless predator, devouring those who enter her territory without permission or break her rules. These stories, although frightening, serve as warnings for children to respect limits and learn to act prudently. Thus, Baba Yaga plays an ambivalent role in children's narratives. She is at the same time a figure of terror and a guide to growth. Through her interactions with children, she teaches lessons in resilience, responsibility, and courage, values that continue to resonate even in a modern context. Baba Yaga is a figure filled with symbolism, and each element associated with her carries deep and often hidden meanings. From her appearance to her hut to her behaviors, everything about her seems to have a higher purpose, reflecting important concepts from Slavic mythology and the human condition in general. Starting with her appearance, Baba Yaga is often depicted as a grotesque old woman with iron teeth, wrinkled skin, and a stooped posture. This image reflects not only old age, but also the wisdom accumulated over time. In many cultures, the figure of the crone is associated with ancestral knowledge and the mysteries of the natural world, and Baba Yaga embodies these ideas in her frightening and powerful form. The hut on the chicken legs, perhaps the most recognizable symbol of Baba Yaga, is also loaded with meaning. As mentioned earlier, it represents a threshold between worlds, a passage between the known and the unknown. In addition, the fact that the hut can move or rotate reinforces the idea that the world of Baba Yaga is unstable and unpredictable, requiring courage and cunning to navigate. Another important symbol is the mortar that Baba Yaga uses as a means of transportation. Traditionally associated with healers and alchemists, the mortar represents transformation and creation. The fact that she uses it to travel suggests that Baba Yaga is not only a destroyer, but also a creator, someone who manipulates the forces of nature to achieve her goals. In addition, many tales mention Baba Yaga's servants, such as the White Knight, the Red Knight, and the Black Knight. These mysterious characters are often interpreted as representations of natural forces or the cycle of time, symbolizing dawn, dusk, and night. Her presence reinforces Baba Yaga's role as a guardian of natural cycles and a figure deeply connected to the rhythms of the world. Finally, there is the name Baba Yaga itself, which carries a symbolic weight. While Baba can mean grandmother or old woman, Yaga is more difficult to translate, but it is usually associated with fear or terror. This combination perfectly reflects Baba Yaga's duality. At once a familiar and comforting figure, and a terrifying presence that challenges and transforms. In the end, all of these symbols work together to create a figure that is much more than just a villain. Baba Yaga is an embodiment of natural forces, a spiritual guide, and a keeper of deep secrets, offering lessons that go far beyond what is apparent on the surface. Baba Yaga, while deeply rooted in Slavic mythology, has transcended cultural boundaries and become an iconic figure in modern culture. Whether in books, movies, games, or even in the visual arts, the witch with her hut in chicken legs continues to inspire creations that explore her symbolism and mystery. But how has this mythical figure transformed over time to fit into the contemporary imaginary? In literature, Baba Yaga appears in numerous works that reimagine her story and role. A striking example is the book A Baba Yaga by Marina Warner, which examines the figure of the witch in various cultural contexts, exploring its impact and its deep symbolism. In addition, fantasy novels often use Baba Yaga as an enigmatic character who oscillates between the role of villain and ally, as in Neil Gaiman's books, where she is referenced in an indirect but unmistakable way. In theaters, Baba Yaga also left his mark. Films like Hellboy present her as a terrifying but fascinating figure, true to her mythological depiction. On the other hand, children's productions, such as animations from Russian studios, modernize its image, making it more accessible, but still powerful and mysterious, ensuring that its legend lives on for new generations. In the video game universe, Baba Yaga appears as a symbolic figure, and often as a boss or guide that players must face or conquer. Games like Rise of the Tomb Raider, for example, include entire quests based on the myth of the witch, exploring her cabin, the mysteries of the forest and its challenges. Here she is a reflection of her traditional image, mysterious, frightening, and full of hidden meanings. Another field in which Baba Yaga excels is in the visual arts. Painters, sculptors, and digital artists often portray her as a multifaceted figure, sometimes grotesque, sometimes majestic, but always intriguing. His chicken leg hut, in particular, is an iconic visual element that artists love to reinterpret, making it one of the most recognizable images in Slavic mythology. Ultimately, Baba Yaga has also found a place in popular culture as a symbol of female resistance and ancestral wisdom. Many see her figure as a metaphor for the power of older women, who are often underestimated or marginalized, but who possess unparalleled wisdom and strength. This aspect makes her an inspiration for debates about feminism, aging, and spirituality. Thus, Baba Yaga is not just a relic of the past. Its presence in modern culture demonstrates its ability to adapt and to continue to inspire those who find meaning in its mysteries. The duality between good and evil is one of the most intriguing aspects of Baba Yaga. Unlike many mythological or folkloric figures who clearly fall into one of these sides, Baba Yaga inhabits a gray area, defying simplistic categorizations. This ambiguity is what makes her character so fascinating and enduring. On the one hand, Baba Yaga is often depicted as a menacing figure. She devours children, punishes the weak, and terrorizes those who cross her path without permission. In many stories, she is the embodiment of fear and the unknown, a destructive force that seems to act without mercy. This makes her, in the eyes of many, a scary villain. On the other hand, there is a completely different facet to his personality. Baba Yaga can also be a mentor, a guardian of wisdom, and even an ally. In several stories, she grants crucial help to heroes who demonstrate courage, intelligence, and humility. For those who pass its tests, Baba Yaga offers not only material rewards, but also profound insights that change their lives. This contrast between good and evil is symbolized in many aspects of their appearance and behavior. Your home, for example, is a place of welcome and danger at the same time. The tasks she imposes on heroes may seem cruel, but they almost always have a greater purpose, to test their mettle and prepare them for future challenges. Even her physical figure, a terrifying but wise old woman, reflects this duality. Baba Yaga's duality also resonates with human nature itself and the forces of life. Just as nature can be generous and cruel, Baba Yaga embodies both the destructive and the creative aspect of existence. This characteristic connects her to universal archetypes found in many cultures, such as the Hindu goddess Kali or the figure of the Great Mother in European mythology. Finally, the duality between good and evil in Baba Yaga serves as a powerful reminder that not everything in the world can be easily categorized. Their stories teach us that good can come from fear, and that the most difficult challenges often hide the most valuable lessons. Baba Yaga, in all its complexity, is a mirror of our own contradictions, inviting us to look beyond appearances and embrace the ambiguity of life. Baba Yaga is a figure who continues to fascinate generations, even after centuries since his stories began to be told. But what is it about this witch from Slavic mythology that makes her so irresistible to our imagination? To understand its ongoing relevance, we need to dive into its complexity and what it represents on different levels. Firstly, Baba Yaga is fascinating because she defies convention. Unlike many figures in folklore, who can be clearly identified as good or bad, Baba Yaga is ambiguous. This lack of definition allows each generation to interpret its figure in different ways, adapting it to the concerns and values of its time. For the ancient Slavic peoples, it was a reflection of natural forces, unpredictable, powerful, and above all, necessary. Today, she is seen as a multifaceted archetype who can be interpreted as both a destructive force and a wise mentor. In addition, her connection to human fears and desires makes her especially resonant. The forest where she lives is a symbol of the unknown, a place where dangers lurk, but also where self-knowledge and transformation take place. Baba Yaga, as the inhabitant of this space, represents the challenge of facing our own fears and limitations. It is a reminder that in order to grow, we need to step into the unknown, face difficulties, and come out the other side transformed. Another aspect that contributes to the fascination with Baba Yaga is its cultural complexity. It carries with it the pagan traditions of the Slavic peoples, connecting us to a past in which nature was revered and the cycles of life were deeply respected. Even after the arrival of Christianity, which tried to demonize figures like Baba Yaga, she survived, transforming herself into something more universal, a figure that transcends religion and time, speaking directly to human experience. Baba Yaga's visual appearance also plays a role in its enduring appeal. Her image, a wrinkled old woman flying in a mortar, living in a chicken hut with chicken legs, is both frightening and fascinating. She is a character who defies expectations and captures the imagination of artists, writers, and filmmakers. His hut in particular is a symbol that crosses cultures, appearing in books, movies, and games as an icon of Slavic mythology. Finally, Baba Yaga still fascinates because she is, in many ways, a mirror. Their stories force us to confront our own contradictions and to recognize that the world is not black and white. It challenges us to see beyond appearances, to seek meaning in challenges, and to accept that life is made of cycles, where the end always brings a new beginning. In an ever-changing world, Baba Yaga remains relevant because she represents that which is eternal: mystery, challenge, and the human ability to grow in the face of adversity.